Morning, folks. Welcome to another episode of Breakfast with Loui. My breakfast is already made. I'm sorry. I didn't think I was going to make. Well, Spillberger over here, he didn't want to make a video. He's like, I don't feel like it. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm just going to make my food. And now after I make the breakfast, he's like, this will look... No, he doesn't talk like that. He talks weird. He's like, you make a good video or something. I don't know. It's whatever. But so, should I continue? Okay. My breakfast today it's a simple breakfast. Sometimes I like to do simple breakfasts. In this simple breakfast, I was going to use potatoes, but my potatoes are, how should I say, maybe I should show it to you. Hold on. Let me show it to you. Hold on. Make sure my garbage bag is overfilled, and I don't want it to break and fall all over the place. Let's see if I can reach. Okay. All right. So I was going to do potatoes, but I guess my potato has been potatoed. Yeah, it's mushy and it's primed to be planted, and the way you plant the potato. So this one only has that there, so you would cut it. You could cut it right here and then put it in the ground with this up, cover it with dirt, and that's gonna give you many, many more potatoes out of this one potato. So I didn't do potatoes. Let me see if I hope my vent does not. It doesn't seem to be ticking, so I'm going to leave it on. So that's what I did. Well, that's what I didn't do. I didn't do the potatoes, folks, because the potatoes, they're a little bit too far gone. But I did use salmon. I got a package that I bought. Where did I buy that? I bought not a Costco, maybe a Costco, or maybe a Whole Foods. Anyway, it's a package of salmon pieces, individually wrapped, and I've kept them frozen. One of my refrigerators, I have it set as a freezer, so, and that stupid thing is always going. You probably can hear it now. It's like, it's never happy. I don't get it. My other refrigerator, the original one that I bought many, many years ago, I don't remember, was it 2015, 2016 I bought it? Right, very shortly, okay, the first summer, I know that I spent the first summer, 2015, or maybe 2014. I had a cooler, and I was spending too much money on ice, and then I bought the refrigerator shortly after. So it might have been 2014, 2015. I bought the refrigerator. It's a 35 quart Dometic. That thing always works impeccably. It's always working. It turns itself on, it runs for a while, it cools itself down, it's off for a while, an hour or two, whatever. It depends if it's hot or cooler, but it always works. Now, the other one, it's a 22 quart. Sometimes, for no apparent reason, it just stops working. I have to unplug it, plug it back in, I have to turn it off, unplug it, wait a few seconds, plug it back in, so it kicks on again. And no apparent reason why it does that. It's not like I don't have enough power. Sometimes I'm low on power, but some other times I have plenty of power and the sun is out, and it still does that. And then the other annoying thing that it does is that it's always running, almost always running. I don't get it. It's annoying, I'm just like, I talk to the thing as if I'm talking to a person sometimes. I'm like, you stupid refrigerator. Why don't you just cool yourself down? Like, I have it set for 14 degrees, right? So cool yourself down to 12 or 11, and then stop. And then stop for an hour or two until the temperature comes back up, and then cool yourself down again. No, it's like it turns itself on for a while, and then it turns itself off, and then I think, oh, it just turned itself off. Oh, so, and then it's like, oh, let me see if I still have power. Oh, I do have power. And it's like, ooh, it's cloudy. Let me use a lot of power. Yeah, it's annoying. But that's all not part of the breakfast, right? It is part of the breakfast because I keep my food in the refrigerators and the freezer. So I did the salmon. I did the salmon and I did onion and pepper, and I already had it, folks. But I have a little bit left that I can show you right here. So that's the leftover of the Loui breakfast that I have to clean up. And of course, I had my cup of coffee and I had orange juice. So that's what I had. So before I continue, let me put that back in the freezer so it doesn't. I think it'll be okay for a few minutes, but I'm going to put it back. Always working. Unbelievable. I was going to say something, but I'm like, what else am I going to say, I'm just like, I'm over it. I don't know. I wish I had more room so that I could have a huge refrigerator. I like a big one with maybe a double compartment freezer refrigerator, but something big, something big. Maybe this one is a 35 quart. Maybe a room for like an 80 quart or something, or 100 or 200 quart. So I can have food in there and not have to go to the store, or especially when I go camping. When I go back to work eventually, or when I'm driving through towns and cities and every other day or every couple days, then I don't have to supply with a lot of stuff because I can always stop and get more. But when I go camping and I know I'm going to go in there somewhere in the middle of nowhere and I'm going to be there for a couple weeks, then I like to have different things. I like to have orange juice and berries and salad and all those things. And if I buy that, it's kind of hard to fit in my refrigerator with other stuff that I already have in there, with other meats and all that stuff. So yeah, having something a little bit bigger, it would be really nice. But on the other hand, having what I have is also pretty cool, because I could have nothing, right? And if I didn't have a refrigerator, then I couldn't keep food cold. Even if I had a cooler, then the ice only is going to last so long. And when you go out camping, unless you were willing to go out every day and buy ice, then it's not going to work. And then you're not going to have a certain foods that you may like. Certain fresh foods that will stay better in a refrigerator. Not saying that you can't do it without a refrigerator. Yeah, you can, and a lot of people do. But having a refrigerator is really nice. And I remember that when I was living my first summer with a cooler, I was buying about a bag of ice, 1 or 2 bags of ice a day, and so I was spending about $5 a day or more. At the time, I figured out that if the amount of money that I spent on ice during the summer months, for about 6 months, let's say, it was more on ice than it cost to buy the refrigerator. So the refrigerator has paid itself many times over, just for me not having to buy ice. So it's been worth it. I love my 35 quart refrigerator from Dometic. I don't love my 22 quart refrigerator from Dometic. I just don't like it. It's been an annoying refrigerator, to say the least. And I purposely bought the older model, not the newer model, the older model that had the Danfoss cooler, Danfoss, what do you call it? I forgot what it's called. The Danfoss. It's not the cooler. It's the not the alternator. It's a car. It's not a refrigerator. But I'm trying to remember the name. It's under my tongue. It's not alternator. It's not motor, engine, Danfoss compressor. I purposely bought the Danfoss compressor because those are really good. From what I understand, the newer models from Dometic, they have a different compressor, and those are not as good, from what I understand. Maybe they're good. Maybe they'll last a long time. I don't know. I just know that my 35 quart refrigerator has always worked, and it's always plugged in. Very seldom it's unplugged. Most of the time, 99% of the time, the refrigerator is always on, always running, and it never not run for me. It's always there. It's always going. It cools itself down, and then it stops for a few hours, and then when it needs to cool itself back on again, it cools itself back on again. Of course, if the weather is hotter, then my van gets hotter, and then the refrigerator will work a little bit more. But it always works. It's always there for me. And the other one, not so much. All of a sudden, for no reason, it's off. And I have to keep always an eye on it, make sure that the light is, if the light is orange, it means that it's hoppy, it cooled itself down, and now it's just on standby. But if the light is green and I don't hear a noise, then it's just stuck on stupid. It's completely stuck on stupid. It's on. The light is on, but there's nothing upstairs. So I have to unplug and replug and try to screw the knot, the screw back on, because that it has a screw loose somewhere. So that's how I feel. But yeah, so I'm happy that I've had the. How did this turn into a refrigerator thing? I'm talking about breakfast over here. This is breakfast with Loui, not refrigerators with Loui. Okay, I know refrigerators are part of breakfast, like I said, because they keep my stuff cool, and without them, I would have to be eating different things. But this is about food. But I already cooked the food, so just if you want to see how I cut the onions, just go back to some other videos. You'll see how I cut the onions. If you want to see how I grind my coffee, just go see some other videos. And yeah, if you want to see how I squeeze my oranges, go see some other videos. Yes, I squeeze my own oranges. I have my own orange trees that I carry in the back of the trailer. You don't believe me, do you? No, okay. I bought this orange juice, so I didn't squeeze the orange juice, but I could have, and I've had done that. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Unless I had a house somewhere, maybe in Florida, and I had orange trees, or in California, then you can just go to the tree and pick up some oranges and squeeze them every day. You don't have to pick them all out at the same time. You can every day you go in there, you pick a dozen oranges, squeeze them up in a squeezer, juicer, machiner, and then you have fresh orange juicer for breakfast. And speaking of breakfast, I am going to finish my coffee here and my orange juicer, and I guess I will see you at the next Breakfast with Loui, folks. Until then, enjoy your breakfast. It's not hot anymore. actually kind of cool. Actually cold. I don't like cold coffee. Ugh. I do like cold orange juice. It's cold.